Welcome. I'm not Karen Mayo, but I'm going to start this evening. My name is Dan Crago, class of 1980. I graduated with Adam Abele, who we're here to talk about. I met Adam first in about fifth grade playing football, and we were opposing teams. So I learned early on his tenacity as a sports person, and never say never. Not a physically large person, but a very true competitor to the nature. And I'll let Karen introduce herself.
And I'm Karen Mayo. I met Adam when I was 6 years old, when I made the traumatic move from Debola all the way to North Hills School. I cried a lot, and Adam was one of my good buddies from the very, very beginning. So I went to North Hills together, Washington, junior high, high school, and we've stayed really close friends ever since, even though I've lived in Houston and Denver for a long time. I remember Adam first, like my earliest memories of Adam playing tennis were he had this one opponent often just right here in Marietta in summer leagues and things. And it was really interesting to watch the matches. I knew Adam was good, but they would go back and forth. Well, this opponent that he played would scream and yell and crack his racket on the ground, and he would wing his racket sometimes. He'd be so upset, and Adam would very calmly, and sometimes the racket even went to the other side of the net where Adam was, and Adam would walk up very calmly, pick up the racket, walk to the net, reach over and lean it back, just being very nice, giving him his racket back, never said anything, never told stories about him, and he'd walk back and get ready to serve again. But, so I was just always impressed at his demeanor on the court from the very, very beginning. But just like when I moved to Houston, I didn't realize I was from someplace small, so I went to Houston. Well, I didn't realize how good Adam was until I started playing outside of Marietta. And one of the best examples of that, and while we're out here tonight, was the high school tennis tournament in his senior year. So Dan was there. Darren's going to tell that story.
Before I jump into that, one more quick blurb on the screamer and the tennis racket thrower. We all know who he was. We all played against him. I remember playing once on the court right next to Adam when Adam was playing this individual. Back and forth, they're both at the net. All of a sudden, the ball kind of pops up. Adam nails it, hits the screamer right in the chest with the ball. He looks at him and said, "You're hitting that ball. You could have hit that wherever you wanted to." And Adam's like, "I did." Like Karen said, Adam had a very subtle way of putting his meaning across. I'd like to just briefly explain the state championship finals. 1980, in tennis, when you go to the state finals, they invite the 16 best players throughout the state to Columbus to compete. All the players show up. Adam, with his entourage, which I was part of, we were rooting him on, carrying his racket, making sure he had water. And I think I even substituted one of my shoestrings to him when he broke. So his broke, but we were just trying to help him get through the matches. First match, round of 16 players, Adam competed valiantly and won that match, I'll call it relatively easily because it went quickly and he didn't seem to have very much trouble. The next match, the round of quarterfinals, in tennis you play 2 out of 3 sets, sets being 6 games. The first set, Adam lost. And we're like, well, Adam's such a competitor, it's okay. I've seen him lose the first set, he's going to win the next 2 sets. You're still feeling pretty confident. Set 2, Adam gets behind. He's losing 5-4. The opponent only had to get the very next game. Each of the games are 4 points. His opponent wins the first 3 points. He's winning 40 love. All he has to do is take the next point from Adam, then that competitor moves on. Adam's out of the tournament. So here it is, 3 set points. Adam works his way back, wins the first one, wins the second one. I remember vividly watching the match. Adam's at the net, the lob goes over his head. Adam tracks it down, gets the ball back, gets back into the point. He ends up winning that game, come back and won that in a tiebreaker, wins the next set, and he ends up beating that competitor. Then you go to the next round of semifinals. Again, it's the next morning, day 2 of competition. They're down to only 4 players. Adam has a slow start, loses the first set. But by then, we're like, well, it's okay. He can get a set behind. We're not going to worry about it. It's one of Adam's very admirable strengths is his heart and his competitiveness. I played against him so many times, I never count him out until that, the very last point. He's not going to give up. So even though Adam lost the first set, comes back, wins the second set in the tiebreaker, ends up winning the third set and putting him into the state finals. The state final itself was kind of anticlimactic. By then, we're just like, it doesn't matter who steps on the court against him, we know he's going to be victorious. He won the state final 6-2, 6-1, straight sets to win the state. Adam, as you see him come up, very distinguished. During his playing time frame, he's not a big, he's not 6'4", 200 pounds. I probably had the 200 pounds. I just didn't quite have the height. But any opponent that ever competed against Adam knew that regardless of the size facing over the net at the opponent, you knew you were going to be in for a big fight. Even when I competed directly against him myself, I just knew it was going to be a long day. I might win the first set, but I'm going to probably lose set 2 and set 3, just because that's the way Adam was. And not only are we looking at his wins and his accomplishments, but one other key fact I wanted to bring up was Adam's sportsmanship and his leadership. Adam was the team captain his junior year and his senior year. And not only was he winning all of these matches, match after match, his senior year he went undefeated. He went to the state, won all 4 matches. His senior year he never lost. But above and beyond that, he rose the level of the team. I played second singles, and I always knew, regardless of who we went out and we were going to play against, they're going to put their top person out there. Adam's going to beat them. Then they're going to throw, the rest of the team out there. And Adam just brought all of us up to his level and his leadership, his calmness on the court, and it made it, I don't want to say easy, but it definitely made it calming when we were competing. After Adam won the state, went undefeated, he earned a full ride athletic scholarship to Purdue. I don't want to overlook this, but he was also a member of the National Honor Society. He probably could have received an academic scholarship too. I wanted to put that in there, Mona, because just so everybody knows is not only athletic but academic prowess. But with that being said, I'm going to switch it over to Karen to briefly talk about the Purdue side.
As a Purdue Boilermaker, Adam quickly established himself as one of the Big Ten's best tennis players. He carved out a Hall of Fame career there as well, one that to this day has been unmatched at Purdue. He played #1 singles and #1 doubles at Purdue all 4 years. He won the Big Ten Singles Championship in 1984, a Purdue first. He finished his career with the best singles record in Purdue history, a record which still stands today. He earned first team All Big Ten accolades in 81, 82, 83, and 84. He was the Mackey Award winner as the school's top senior athlete during his student athlete during his senior year. He was Purdue's recipient of the Big Ten Medal of Honor in 1984, and he was also inducted into Purdue University's Athletic Hall of Fame in 2000. My daughter was considering a recruiting trip she went on a recruiting trip to Purdue a few years ago for swimming, and I called Adam and wanted to know what his thoughts were. He raved about Purdue. He went on and on, the coaches, the campus, the athletic department, the facilities, the business program, went on, and he made it sound like he was so lucky to have gotten to go there, when personally I think Purdue was lucky to have had Adam after Marietta High School. One last thought, when we were all in touch with Adam during his high school career, Brad, Danny and I all used to beg Adam, please go pro, because we kept telling him we wanted a trip to Wimbledon. We wanted to go to Wimbledon and watch him play. That was like a huge thing for us. But unfortunately, he was also very smart. And yeah, I think he graduated from Purdue with a 5.65 on a 6-point scale. And so obviously had amazing job opportunities too. I believe he's been with Procter & Gamble now for, is it 30 years? 30 years. So yeah, that was amazing too. So we didn't get to go watch it. I think he could have done it. You want to wrap up?
We appreciate the board and the council setting up this great program. It's been a long time coming. I know there's been a lot of work behind the scenes setting this up. We feel honored to be part of that. We appreciate all the work that's gone into this. At this time, I'd like to introduce Adam Downing Abele, the best tennis player ever to suit up and play at Marietta High School.
Well, thank you, Karen and Dan. That's sort of very touching and sort of hard to go on after that. But first of all, I'm honored to receive this recognition, especially being the first class. And I want to congratulate the entire class. Just sitting here, some of the members going in I knew, some I didn't, but saw their pictures up in the gymnasium. But I've really learned a lot. I just want to congratulate the entire class. There's some great athletes out there, and I'm honored to be part of the class. Second, a little housekeeping. For those of you that haven't looked at your smartphones, Ohio State is up 14-3. I want to thank a lot of folks, and if I forget anybody, I really apologize in advance, but hopefully I'm going to get everybody. But first of all, I want to thank my teammates. Danny, it was a surprise seeing you here. Brad was supposed to be here tonight. Unfortunately, he was on the way to the airport, and he had a death very close to him, and so he turned around. He called me immediately. I completely understand. So Brad, we're thinking about you in this tough weekend. Hope you get through the weekend. Sorry. We couldn't see each other, but we'll get together another time. But I had great teammates. And in tennis, it's a very unique sport. You're an individual, but you're a team. And we had a lot of great memories riding in a station wagon with probably too many people on it for the road today. But it was great to have that team. I also want to thank my coaches. I invited Coach Hahn here. Those of you may remember Coach Hahn. He coached football, and somehow the tennis opportunity opened up, and he took the job. And I think when he first took the job, he knew nothing about tennis. But he got together with my personal coach, Dean Eisner, who I just think the world of. And Dean, I'm sorry you couldn't be here also tonight, but I love you and thinking about you tonight. But anyhow, Dean taught Coach Hahn a couple things, and Coach Hahn, for many of you who don't know him, played football for the University of Michigan. He was, I think, one of the guards, so he was a pretty big man. And so he was helping us out, and he really got us in shape. I'll tell you, I heard some of the football stories and running up the hills, and he did that to us at the tennis team. And, we're tennis players, we weren't sort of used to that. But, he brought all of us together. We had a little side bet. He was pretty big, and he wasn't very good at tennis player, so we used to have a side bet who could hit him the most with tennis balls. So he probably didn't know this at the time. We'd hit a drop shot, he'd come running in, get the drop shot, and then the next one right at his chest. So we had him a lot early years, but then he got pretty good. Developed into a pretty good tennis player. So I just want to thank him. I had a lot of other great coaches. One of them here tonight, Jerry, I want to thank you. You spent a lot of time with me on the baseball fields, the football fields, the basketball court, and I really appreciate that. I want to thank you. Paul, you were the life of tennis in Marietta, brought tennis to Marietta, so thank you for taking the time and being here tonight. Next, I want to thank my family. So, unfortunately, my wife couldn't be here tonight. Just want to say I love her, and she is with my daughter. For those of you who don't know, this has been a great day. This is sort of the ice cream on the cake. My daughter got second in the state high school tennis championship today. Alexa, I love you. We had a great weekend. We were in Cincinnati. She played the semifinal this morning. She played the final this afternoon. And we hightailed the car over here. And tomorrow, her team is going to be playing in the state team tournament in Columbus. So tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., we're back in the car to Columbus. So hopefully we can bring home a state title there. I also want to thank my son, Eric. He's in Green Bay. Obviously, he couldn't be here because of the distance. But I want to thank all of them. And lastly, my parents. My parents did a lot for me playing tennis. And now as a parent watching my daughter play, boy, I know what you guys went through. You heard the down triple set point or triple match point in the state final. I'm just watching my daughter, play, and it's a lot easier to play than it is to watch or coach. So I want to thank that. The last folks I want to thank are the teachers of Marietta High School and the administrators. We are student athletes. We did go to school. And without you all, and I'd like for those of you who are teaching now, been a teacher, been an administrator, whether it's in Marietta High School, could you please stand up? You deserve some recognition. I know there's a lot of I just personally want to say thank you. As athletes, we have a lot of fun. We work hard. We train hard. It's great playing a game. But life's a little bit bigger than that, and the teachers give you that foundation. And, I went to Marietta. I graduated in 1980. For those of you that were around back then, this little town and this high school was damn good. And I really didn't know it. All I knew was Marietta High School. It was Williamstown, West Virginia, Parkersburg, Marietta High School. That's all I knew. I went to school at Purdue University, and I got to meet Bob tonight, another Boilermaker. I was very honored to meet him. But it's a little bit of a tough university, and you realize the education you get at this high school, and it helped me tremendously. School was pretty easy. I went on and got my MBA there, and then it got a little tough, but it was the foundation I got here at Marietta High School, and I can't tell you how many teachers gave me rides out to Reno where the tennis courts were, and they were just outstanding. So again, I want to thank folks. And lastly, I was going to give a few words of wisdom, and I know I'm getting close to being in between the second half of the Ohio State game, so I'm going to But I always went through both tennis and life with sort of a focus. People say I was tenacious, it's probably right, but I would say I was focused, probably too focused. But I focused on what was important. I'm going to give you a couple examples, but in tennis, all I did was focus on getting the ball back one more time. It wasn't any more complicated than that. If I got the ball back one more time than my opponent, I was probably going to win. And a lot of folks get too caught up in a bunch of other things. And so the words I would leave you is just stay focused on what's important. Let the other little stuff, it's really not going to matter in life or in other things, but worry about what's the most important thing. It helped me when I was down 3 match points in the state championship. There's no clock in tennis. You can, as long as you win the last point, you're going to do just fine. And lastly, I want to leave one message. Support your kids, friends, and other family members in athletics, no matter what level. I heard about Twinkle Toes, that was a great story. It ended up pretty darn well. But the thing about athletics, it's fun, it's healthy, and you're gonna learn life lessons. You're gonna learn how to compete, and you're gonna learn about teamwork. I've been with Procter & Gamble 30 years. Every day I walk in that door, I'm competing against another company, another competitor, and I'm working with a great team. It's what I learned in Marietta High School. It's where I learned 4th and 5th grade basketball and football. And I just leave that with you tonight as you think about athletics. It's a life lesson. You're going to learn how to compete. You're going to learn about teamwork. It's going to serve you well. So again, thank you for this honor. It's very important. I appreciate it. God bless.